Hi everybody, welcome to this video about self-love and self-worth. We are going to look at the correlation between your level of self-love and self-worth and your spiritual ability to focus and center yourself connected to your spiritual practice. We are looking at the idea, if you want to look good, and you want those nice abs, or you want to have big muscles, so you want to feel like you're in shape, it's not that hard to understand that we got to go to either the gym or we got to move our body, we got to be active. And for many of us, that's not such a long stretch, right? Like I'm going to go to the gym so I can get my muscles going. And when it comes to a spiritual practice, it's very, very similar. That the idea of how much time you spend in either your meditation and in your healing practice. This doesn't only mean to always sit in meditation always only, but it sure has a correlation to how centered you're going to feel in your life, how much you're going to be able to learn from the lessons that are coming your way in your daily life. So when you start to implement a daily practice of meditation, you put aside time in the morning and potentially, hopefully, in the evening. It sort of bookends your day really nicely. When we start our meditation, and in the beginning of a meditation practice, it's not easy to meditate, right? It's something we have to force ourselves to do. It's something that the mind doesn't like. The mind doesn't like to slow down, to calm down, to not have a ton of distractions. The mind likes to stay busy, usually because we're not that comfortable inside of our own skin. We're not that able to just sit and listen to our inner stillness or inner self. So from that perspective, if we start to understand that your level of comfortability in life, your level of or discomfort is directly correlated to how much time you spend healing and journeying and going within on your journey, as well as then learning what are the signs that are coming my way. How can I take this into my life and shift the experience? Either it's something with myself, right? That I gotta shift my energetic frequency around something, or I gotta shift how my ego looks at something or defends its standpoint. Or I can also learn how to release things out of my life. Or there are potentially many more, right? Like one of the other practices that are very helpful is to keep breathing into, if you have any contractions in your body, if you find any pain or stuckness or blockages in your system, we breathe space into those places so that your body can begin to heal itself. That's connected to the trauma that often we have all experienced one form of trauma or another. And this trauma gets stuck in different parts of our physical body, our nervous system, and our emotional body. And as we learn how to breathe space into these, we also learn how to sit with the feelings that are coming up. And of course, we don't want to become the feelings. We want to feel them, we want to observe them, and we want to allow them to move through us. At times, that's very hard. If the trauma is very deep, it's not easy to just hold space for it. And at the same time, that is the healing path. That is what's going to help us. If we sit in our emotionality, in our feelings, and we get overwhelmed. If we have experienced very severe trauma and then we go into the experience and we start feeling it, often we're actually re-traumatizing ourselves. But if we can hold ourselves in a bit of a centered space, we use our breath to keep grounding, then we can expand around the trauma and allow it to move, and we don't have to become the feeling. We can observe it, and we can feel it, and we can cry if we need to. We can feel the anger or negativity if we need to, but we don't have to identify it and become it. Because in all reality, the trauma is not real now, right? The trauma happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago. So there are ways of staying present through a healing journey. And the correlation is then also between how much value do I put on my healing journey? How much energy do I put into it? Because it comes right back to the amount of self-love you can feel, the amount of self-worth you feel and experience for yourself. That if you start to go into your sacral chakra, you breathe space into these areas of your body. Sacral chakra being located around the belly button area, you breathe space into it and you start to feel a sense of stability, both from the sacral chakra and the root chakra. And then you can access your love in your heart. And one way of doing that is to hold up, if you felt love for a person, for an animal, for a situation, first you feel that love in your heart. You let that fill your whole heart. And you can expand your heart around that love. Then you start to move that feeling of love. You start to bounce it down to the sacral chakra. Allow it to move down, and then on the out breath, you allow the love to come from the sacral chakra back up into the heart. And we're creating this dynamo effect where we're filling ourselves up with love. And at some point when you're doing this, you can release the person you felt the love for, or the animal, or whatever it might be, family, whatever it may be. You release that person out of your system, and you still sit with that love. You find the love inside of you that is actually part of you. And yes, we were feeling it for somebody, but it's in your system. That love is in you. So as you start to breathe deeper into that sacral chakra and the heart, that love begins to fill you up from the inside. And then you can start seeing yourself full of light and full of love. Now, these are parts of the meditation practice, but in order to get there, you have to actually do your meditation. And this is, of course, there's no shame or guilt in this if you're not actively doing it, but the correlation between how much you're able to feel self-love, self-worth, and a sense of being centered comes directly with your practice of sitting or not sitting. Just like if we go to the gym, we get results. If we don't go to the gym, we actually don't get the results we're looking for. And that same thing goes for our healing journey. But in the healing journey, it's our meditation that is the gym. And personally, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. The more we understand that we can take our healing journey seriously, which then becomes a spiritual walk. It becomes a spiritual path that you're on. As you increase the level of severity and how serious you take your journey, the more the results are going to show up for you. Right? The more you're going to be able to see what's happening within your system and be like, oh, now this is happening. Oh, I'm feeling this now. Oh, can I bring awareness into this, to that? Can I digest these feelings? Can I be the space for these feelings? But it only happens when we move into that inner space. And it is really imperative that the more weight you put on your spiritual journey, the more you get out of your spiritual journey. So it's fascinating to look. It's not about taking yourself seriously in some ways as a person, right? But because that can easily lead to more ego. But there is something to be said for taking your spiritual journey seriously, taking your healing journey seriously. Very, very important. Healing is available for all of us. We can heal the most impossible things if we spend the time to help heal it. We just have to do that work. And that increases that sense of self-love and self-worth. So it's like when you go to the gym and you prove to yourself, I'm worthy of this feeling, of feeling good. The same thing happens in meditation as you practice. You just have to do the work. So this is where it's beautiful to up the severity, up the seriousness of this experience. All right, so this was my encouragement to you to go deeper on your journey. This was my encouragement to you to find that space of more seriousness around your practice. There is actually a boomerang effect. As you take your journey more seriously, your path, it becomes more real. It becomes more active. It becomes a part of your life. It's like you're upgrading. As you take things more seriously, you're upgrading yourself, your level of sense of self, your level of self-worth and self-love. So take that journey seriously, my dear friend. My dear, dear friend. All right. Thank you for today. That was it for this video. Have a beautiful, loving, self-loving day. Namaste and aho.